Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be part 3 of my makeup inventory. This is part 1 of 2 videos that cover all of my eye products, ranging from eyebrow products to eyeshadow primers to loose pigments to depotted singles, working our way up to 5-pan palettes, and then the next part of my makeup inventory starts with 6-pan palettes and goes from there. This is probably the most labor intensive part of my makeup inventory. I mean, hauling everything from the office out here for filming is daunting and not easy, but it's worth it, because at the very least I can pull my stuff out once a year and take a look at it and remind myself of what I have. And I think it's an important process as a former hoarder to kind of go through the motions and remind myself of how much work it is to own these items, and that ultimately I have everything I could possibly want in my collection already. I mean, there's some really cool stuff out there that I don't own, but I own a lot of cool stuff, and it would be worth it to use it and enjoy it rather than focusing on what I don't have. And the inventory really helps with that. It does help with that quite a bit. So thank you for watching the previous parts of my inventory. If you missed them, everything will be linked down below, along with every other inventory I've ever done in previous years, starting with, I think, 2019. And yeah, let's start with part 3 of my makeup inventory. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, we are kicking off part 3 of the makeup inventory for 2025, starting off with my eyebrow products. No major changes as far as inventory numbers. These are the same 10 products that I had last year, and nothing was used up and nothing new came in. The 2 that I have been working on, one officially and one unofficially, are right here. And they're actually, sadly, the two of the newest products to come into my collection. This ABH brow definer and my Kat Von D brow pomade. This has been in a project for 2 years already. Are we going on 3? And I'm guessing it's gonna be, I don't even think we're halfway done. There is so much product in here. This has never been in a project, but on the days when I just can't be bothered with the extra 2 or 3 minutes it takes to use the pomade, I will throw this in my brows. And as you can see, it is getting quite tiny. It was a much longer pencil when I first received it. Both of these products were sent to me for review. That's how they came into my life. I'm very grateful for that. But as much as I have enjoyed using this brow pencil, I'm not going to repurchase it because of all this. It is nice to have a quick and easy go-to product when I don't have time for the brow pomade. But I do still have these 2 pencils. They're not nearly as creamy. They're much older. They're much drier. But I'm either going to use them or declutter them first. Or maybe I will just go to a brow powder on the days when I don't have time to mess with the pomade. Because as you can tell, I have a lot of powders. This is a pomade. This pan is a pomade. This pan is a pomade. The rest are all powders. So I have plenty of powders to choose from if I can't be bothered with this pomade right here. It's a matter of like 1 minute versus 3 minutes. It's not that big of a deal, but there are days when 2 minutes can kind of make or break me. So I like to have something quick on hand for those days. But this number has stayed the same. It is still at 10. I am still working on these 2. I think this one might be a goner in 2025. I think this is going to stick around till the apocalypse. We will see. But yeah, hopefully this number will finally go down at next year's inventory by 1. All right, this is my inventory for eyeshadow primers. These are products that I consider to be eye bases that don't really adjust the color of my eyeshadow look in any way. They either are clear or like a kind of nude shade. So I do have more eye bases, but these are the primers that are just basically nude and don't really change the color of my eye look in any way. I had 18 last year and I am down to 17. I did use one up. It was another one of these e.l.f. primers. Those are really good. I would be shocked if e.l.f. is still selling those because they just seem to, or I don't know. I don't know what Elf is selling right now for eyelid primers, but that is very old, even though it's still in the packaging. I've had it for many years. These are the two that I'm currently having projects. This one is so close to being gone. I am really just squeezing the last of the product out of the base right there. I have got lipstick on my thumb. And then this one I put in a project for this year, but I really haven't started working on it because I'm trying to finish this one off first. I have no clue if I have one more day of product in here or one more month, but I was able to get enough to use it today, so it is still going. I am happy that this number went down by 1. 17 is still way too many, but at the height of the madness, I was at 24 for this inventory. No, sorry, 25. At one point I had 25, so 17 is a lot better than 25. And this should be gone very soon, one way or another. I have no intentions of purchasing any eyeshadow primers, although I did purchase this. Most of these were gifts with purchase or hand-me-downs, but this one I did purchase because I did feel like I needed a specific glitter primer, but this has barely been used. So that should last me for quite a while, but all the rest of these I'm totally fine with panning out of my collection and using up and getting rid of. Okay, this is kind of an exciting inventory update. These are my eyeshadow sticks. They are not all created equal. Some are the kind that set and stay all day long, which are my preferred type of eyeshadow sticks. Others are creasing little bastards. Those are not my favorite, but I do have some of them. This inventory went down by 2 this year. I'm so happy. I was at 50 last year and I did use up 2 of these eyeshadow sticks from my previous inventory, bringing my count down to 48. 48 is still way too many eyeshadow sticks for one set of eyes, but it's a lot better than 50. There's something about getting down to another lower, 10th place that makes me very, very happy. The 2 that I finished, one was a kind of what I called a no-name eyeshadow stick. There was still a sticker on the bottom of the packaging, but it was in such tiny writing that I couldn't read it. I think it was either Almay or Clinique, but I don't know. I'm not sure what it was, but it was very old and it was decluttered to me from Jamie because she didn't want it anymore. And it wasn't the most, it didn't stand out in any way. Let me just say that. That eyeshadow stick did not stand out in any way, and I'm just glad to have it gone. The other eyeshadow stick that I finished was the Benefit Eye Bright. That is a product I really love. I have no idea if Benefit still sells that, and I haven't missed it too much since finishing it. I haven't replaced it with a different kind of brightening, highlighting pencil, and so I've been perfectly fine without it, but I did enjoy that one much more than the other one. But both of them are huge wins to have out of my collection, not only due to the fact that they were not like holy grail irreplaceable products, but also due to their age. They were old, and I'm always happy to use up old makeup. This is the bunch that I'm currently keeping in my bathroom. I have a hair. Okay, here we go. These 2 are not in projects at the moment, but I can never seem to put them away. This is an Avon shade in like an aquamarine shade color, and I just love this. This is one of my best pencils for my waterline. That's actually what I like to do with this, is place the screen in my waterline. It stays put all day long and I love it. I'm trying not to use it as much because I have other eyeliners that I'm supposed to be project panning. And then this is just a black smudge stick from Elf, and I discovered that this makes for a really nice eye base for a single eyeshadow I'm supposed to be hitting pan on. So I keep that in the bathroom on the days that I use that single eyeshadow, but they're not officially in projects at the moment. These 4 are officially in projects at the moment. This jumbo stick from Almay is in my 50 Pink Before 50. This NYX jumbo stick in Yogurt is in my Project 10 uses. This is Firework. Firework from Mally Beauty is in my second classic Project 10 pan, and this highlighting pencil from Cella is in Partners in Cream. So those are the 4 that are officially being worked on in projects. I don't know if I'm going to finish any of them this year. hopefully I could finish the Mally Beauty one because that's in my Project 10 pan. But I feel like I got a long way to go on all 4 of these. So we'll see if I can get this number down for next year's inventory, but I'm so happy that it is down by 2 for this year's inventory. Plus, with these living in my bathroom, I can finally get all of the remaining sticks that I own inside this empty candle jar, which prior to finishing those other 2, I was not able to do. They would not all fit. And now they just all fit. I don't think I could fit one more in here. Maybe I could fit one more. I don't know. No, that is literally just enough with me keeping these 6 pencils in the bathroom to hold all of them, which is great. Yep. Alrighty, these are my colored eye bases. These are all kind of eyeshadow primer type products that have color or shimmer to them, and that's how I use them. There's been no change as far as the number of this inventory. It was at 37 last year. It is at 37 this year. Nothing was used up, nothing new came in. The only one of these that's technically in a project at the moment is this one from Maybelline, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm not really using this at the moment, or really the entire time it's been in the project. I haven't reached for it really at all. I did work on this little smudge pot from e.l.f. quite a bit last year in my Finish 6 by Santa project. I think I used it 20 times, so I made a little dent in that one. But I don't think I really worked on any of these other products. I do have a couple of well-loved products here. This one from Stila is almost gone. I hit pan on this one from Mary Kay, and I also hit pan on this Maybelline one. But the rest of these are like basically full, which is very scary. Because I've had all of these for a long time. I could see that they're drying out. I also feel like I could revive them, so I don't really care. I mean, it's unfortunate that they're drying out, and it's a strong sign that I have more than I can realistically use, but I'm also confident that with Inglot Duraline, I can revive them. So I'm not too worried about that, but yeah. None of these are in a, other than this one, that I'm not actually using, they're not in a project for the moment, but I think that needs to change. I need to start focusing in on these. I was really impressed with those e.l.f. smudge pots, but I like some of these other products very much too. We will see what can make its way into a project for 2025, but right now, it's just that one. All right, we are on to my loose pigments. This has not changed at all. I don't think I touched a single loose pigment in 2024. If I did, it wasn't with any intent to finish anything because yeah, I think I would remember that. But there are 89 loose pigments here. It's the same 89 from last year. This is an intimidating category. There was a project that I did a couple years back created by one of the Fantastic Ladies involving loose powder products, and that was probably when I made the most progress on any loose powder product because of that project. It was really good, but it didn't stick around, unfortunately. I don't think most project panners have this insane amount of loose products like I do. However, these are very intimidating products to pan, so I tend to ignore them. I just pretend that they're not there, even though these are really good products. They're great. Anytime I use them, I'm like, wow, these are amazing. Why don't I use them more often? But then when push comes to shove, I tend to not put them in projects because they scare the bejesus out of me. But yeah, no change here. Same 89 as last year. I would love to take the tops off all these black caps so you could see what the powders look like inside, but there's no way I'm up for dealing with that mess, so we're leaving the lids on for this category. Okay, these are my fancy top coat thingies. I really should have come up with a better name for this category, but I didn't know it would stick when I came up with the name, but I don't know. I kind of put these in a separate group from my eyeshadow singles because they all do something a little bit beyond a typical eyeshadow single. They got a little something special going on. So I put them in a separate category. This number did go up by 1 over the past year. That is because of this guy right here. This is the Touch and Soul Medalist. I got that, I think, for Christmas last year, but it didn't make it into my inventory until after last year's inventory series. So I went from 53 to 54 for this category. I am working on 5 products from this category, which is a lot. Normally I don't have 5 products at one time that I'm working on, but I have both of these little Stila minis in a projects, in 2 separate projects, not the same one. I have this Lorac Luster Drops in my Beauty A to Z. I have this Pure Eye Polish in Project 10 Uses. And then I also have this shadow from JCat Beauty in Beauty A to Z. So, probably not going to be finishing anything anytime soon. Most likely, things are going to start getting decluttered at some point before I actually finish anything, because they are all getting really old and they're not performing the way they used to at one point. I am impressed with how easily some of these products are able to be revived with water or Duraline or other products, so that's good to know. But yeah, I'm really pushing the boundaries of this stuff as far as the timeline. And to be honest, they've all kind of exceeded my expectations for their shelf life. I didn't think they'd even last as long as they have. So I'm just grateful for the time I've had with them, and when they're done, they're done. But I am working on these 5 at the moment, and I have 54 overall, which is up 1 from last year. Moving on to my depotted eyeshadow singles. What a sad sack of eyeshadows. Oh my goodness. These guys have seen some things. That's all I can say. Sadly, this number did not go down in 2024. I tried. I really did try. I worked on a lot of these singles. Most notably, I worked on this one really hard. I really tried to finish this one off and I couldn't do it. So this number is still at 227, which is insane. It's crazy, I know. This here is a depotted single that broke a couple years ago from Looksy Beauty. It is gorgeous, and I just haven't repressed it yet, but I keep that in here to remind myself that I have it in the hopes of one day remembering to repress it. The palettes that I currently keep in the bathroom are these 3. I'm not actually working on any of these shadows. I'm actually working on, this is a double-decker palette, and on the top half I have my cream products from Mascara Beauty or Saint Beauty right there. So that stays in the bathroom for those guys. And then this I kind of threw in as my Pan That palette for 2025. That was kind of an impulsive move, but I have been enjoying it. I'm glad it's in the bathroom. I don't use it that often. This shadow's not part of that. I just needed a place to stick it. But yes, this is part of my Pan That palette for 2025. And then this I've had in the bathroom for years and years, and I'm currently working on this one, which is the shade Halo from Looksy Beauty, and I'm technically working on this black one. I think that's Corrupt from Makeup Geek, although I really don't touch it at all. And then of course I was working on this all of last year, and I have used it a couple times this year, but it's technically not in any project at the moment. But the rest of these shadows are sitting in the office, hanging out until they get called to the field, until they get called to play. So yeah, it's a lot. I don't know if I could actually finish anything this year, but I want to keep working on them, which is why I pulled this into my Pan That palette for 2025, because my heart wants it. I don't know if I can physically do it, but I have been using some of these shadows and I have been enjoying them. And so at least I can say that much for them. But yeah, we are still at 227 single depotted eyeshadows. Holy cow. Here are my Super Shock shadow inventory. There is still 72 here. This number hasn't changed. I did not use any up, and I did not purchase any new Super Shock shadows. I still love Super Shock shadows. I think they are an amazing technological advancement for eyeshadows. I think they are fabulous, especially when they're brand new. Unfortunately, none of mine are brand new. They're getting older, but I can still enjoy them for what they are. I did hit one new pan since my last inventory, which I would have liked to have hit more, but I did hit pan in Millionaire, this one right here, which was beautiful, gorgeous shadow, loved it. And I am currently working on 3 of these shadows. I'm working on these 2 right here with the goal of hitting pan. This is Liberty, I think that's what it's called. Yep, Liberty, it's a metallic silver that's in my deck of panning, and this is Tassel, which is a metallic white that is in my Partners in Cream. And then I'm also working on Ritz, which is one of my all-time favorite Super Shock shadows. It is gorgeous, and ooh, I think this is in my Acope, A Court of Pans and Empties project. And my goal for that one is to finish it because I have already hit pan. I don't feel like I'm likely to actually achieve that goal this year, although it's possible. It takes a long time to finish a Super Shock shadow. It takes a long time for me to finish a Super Shock shadow. I've only finished one ever, but that would be pretty amazing. In the meantime, I would just love to hit some more pans. Up here are the Super Shock shadows that do not have pan. Down here are the 2 rows of Super Shock shadows that do have pan. Sadly, some of the Super Shock shadows that do not have pan have crumbled and broken, like this one. So I don't know how I would even measure hitting pan. I'd have to repress it somehow, but that's how dry they're getting, that they're just, some of them are just kind of crumbling and breaking. This one is dry, but I also did drop it on the floor, so sometimes it's human error, other times they're just old and brittle. But I am working on these 2 with the goal of hitting pan, and this one with the goal of finishing it, and I'm still enjoying all the Super Shock shadows when I do work on them. Not all inventory posts are created equal, and I would have to say this one is one of my least favorite inventory posts to set up of all of them. This one sucks. It is not fun. Not only just getting them all out and fitting them on my little square blanket, but also counting and recounting to make sure that the number is correct takes a ridiculous amount of time. The procrastinator in me will find a million other things to do instead of this post. And so it has been several hours now since I have posted the last part of my inventory, but here we are. It is 11:02 p.m. and I told myself, you don't get to read on your Kindle until you do this post, Paula. So that is the deal I made myself, and here we are. These are my eyeshadow singles. There were, hold on, let me double check. 136 last year. I am down to 134. I did not finish 2 singles. I have finally decided that these 2 are not eyeshadow singles. Truth is, they never were. They've always been quads, but I thought that there was so little product in these little samplers that it couldn't possibly count as a quad. I could only count it as a single, but you know what? I panned this sucker for an entire year and I still couldn't finish it. So these 2 are moving to my quad inventory this year. It's finally happening because that is ridiculous. I proved myself wrong once again. It is way more than an eyeshadow single. Other than moving those 2 out of this inventory, there really hasn't been any significant changes with the rest of these shadows. Everything has pretty much been the same. These have been tucked away in my office for the better part of a year. At the bottom, I have some that live in my bathroom. Does anybody remember a project called Dude, You Panned My Battleship? Yeah, I know. You guys are all patiently waiting for an update on that one. Don't hold your breath. I've probably used the remaining shadows a total of 5 times in the past year. There's nothing consistently happening here, and I don't know what Liz is up to. We honestly haven't spoken about it at all. I mean, I think both of us would agree that technically the project is still going, but I haven't heard anything from her and she hasn't heard anything from me. So this, and this are the remaining shadows in the Do Japan My Battleship project. And then here are all the shadows from the project that I did hit pan on. You could see the little tiny pans right in the middle. So technically I'm working on those, but have I actually worked on those? No, I have not. I think this was in a different compact, but the compact broke and the powder cracked in the compact, so I repressed it into a functioning compact, but it's a Nomad Cosmetics single that I got in an Ipsy bag, and I haven't used it at all. I just repressed it into here, and luckily it's been holding up pretty well in there. It's a pretty shadow. These were all, well, no, these two were MAC singles that broke. These two were part of a palette. I can't remember if it was a 3-pan or a 4-pan palette. I want to say it was a 3-pan palette. And the palette formula was just really powdery, so it kept crumbling on me. And so I panned one of the 3 shades, which was like a light, buttery, goldeny shade. But I moved the 2 remaining broken shadows into different containers, and they've been living in my eyeshadow singles inventory for several years now, but that's where those came from. It was an Ulta trio. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really liked the trio, but they just kept breaking. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about any of these shadows other than every time I look at them, I think, man, I could just pan one a year. That seems reasonable. Just work on one shadow a year and move it out of my collection and get these numbers down. But it's not as easy as it looks. So we are at 134 now, right? Or is it 24? Gosh. 34. So we are at 134 for my inventory of eyeshadow singles. Okay, we are gonna talk about my eyeshadow duos for a minute. I hate to spoil it, but this might be the most exciting post out of my entire eyeshadow inventory this year, guys. This is where all the action happened. I had 30 duos last year and I am down to 29. I used up an eyeshadow duo. It was my Smashbox duo that came as a sample duo in an Ipsy bag. It was a sample of the Full Exposure palette, and I worked on it for years and years and years, and I finally finished it off in 2024. It took forever, and yeah, that's like my biggest success as far as eyeshadow panning for 2024 was this stupid little duo that I worked on for years and years and years. But I will take the wins where I can. This inventory is down to 29. I am currently working on this right here. This is my Franken duo. It's going slow. It is going very slow. I'll be talking about this in an update soon after my inventory is done, but it's not going fast. I'll tell you that right now. Other than that one though, I'm not working on any of these other shadows at the moment. This was in my Pan That palette for 2020. That was Erin's Panning Solitaire project, and I used up this shade right here, which made this trio into a duo for all intents and purposes. So I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I did decide to start moving palettes around as I finished individual shadows, bringing the count of the palette down to a different category. I would move the palette down, and I don't regret that choice. I'm glad I made that choice. It helps me to know exactly how many eyeshadows I have. So yeah, I do hope that I could finish this in less time than it took me to finish that Smashbox duo, but I'm not flying through it. But I'm looking forward to finishing off another duo from this collection. Probably not in 2025, but soon. Ish. Okay, here are my trios. There was 26 last year. There's still 26. I didn't touch any of these in 2024. It did not happen. I didn't put them even in Project 10 uses or anything. So these have not made an appearance in anything over the past year. Which is too bad. But we are at 26. This is a quick one. Okay, this is part one of my quad palettes. Those are 4-pan palettes. I have divided them up into 2 categories. The first one being like drugstore, affordable palettes. The second part being more high-end, luxury type palettes. I don't know if I have any luxury makeup, but these are the cheapos out of my collection. And the reason I divided them up is because I have so dang many. They don't really fit on my little blanket too well. I had 32 last year, and since I've decided to move these 2 quads into this category, I am up to 34. Obviously, these are not new. They didn't come into my collection. They were just in my eyeshadow singles, and as I mentioned already, I proved that they have earned a place in my quads inventory after panning this little sucker for going on 2 years now, and it's still kicking around. Other than that one, the only other quad I worked on was this one in 2024, and that was just to hit pan on this 3rd shade right here. This was my Pan That palette for 2023, well, part of my Pan That palette for 2023. And I was kind of frustrated at the end of the year at 2023 that I hadn't hit pan on that shadow. Obviously, the goal was to pan the entire thing, and that didn't happen. But I thought at least you could have hit pan on that one shadow. So I went back in 2024 and hit pan on that shadow, which makes me feel a little bit better. But I am currently still working on this little guy. This is part of my Pan That palette for 2025. We'll see. We'll see what I can do. Other than that, I'm not working on anything else at the moment. The rest of these are living in my office, being stored there for a future date yet to be specified. Okay, these are my eyeshadow quads that are in my high-end group. These are my more expensive quads, brands like Lorac, Tarte, Bare Minerals, Bath & Body Works, no, The Body Shop, MAC, you get the idea. No major changes here. I had 23 last year. These are the same 23. This keeps closing. Open you. Show your beautiful face. No real changes here. These are the same 23 that I had last year. I am currently working on this quad from MAC in my Deck of Panning project. It just has a usage goal. But I'm glad to be working on it because it was pretty much brand spanking new prior to putting it into that project. Nothing else is currently in a project, unfortunately. So these are the same 23 I had from last year. Alrighty, this is the last part of this portion of my makeup inventory. These are my 5-pan palettes. There's been no change. The number is still at 15. I don't know why, but 5-pan palettes are very intimidating to me. There's something about the amount of product in a 5-pan palette that just kind of, it's too much to be a little palette. It's not big enough to be a big palette. It's just like kind of in between. So I tend to not reach for these very often. I should though. I should reach for these. There's some good shadows in here. I'm sure there is. But yeah, I didn't work on any of these at all in the past year, and there's been no change. These are all from MAC. They look super pretty. And I think most of them I've never even used once. This is the craziest palette out of all my palettes. Every time I think about, like, what was I thinking? This was a Haute Look purchase. Haute Look was a website where brands could, I think it's associated with Nordstrom Rack. And so brands could sell stuff that was like on its way out on there. And they had a policy, I don't know what that is on that light shade. They had a policy of if you spent $100, you got free shipping. So anytime I would place an order on HauteLook, I would always buy $100 worth of product. And it was always makeup. Tarte, Becca, Morphe, Too Faced. I bought a lot of different brands on HauteLook. I used to have a lot of fun shopping there. I haven't been on that website or that app in years and years and years. But this is just a lot of brown. I mean, when I look at this palette, I think, what was Tarte thinking when they made this palette? I mean, it's basically 2 gigantic pans of shimmery brown, 1 matte brown, a dark green, and then a pretty dark, I'm looking to see right now, does it have some sheen to it? It's not like a total matte, but I think it could be used as like a matte crease color. But man, this is a weird palette. And yet I bought it. I don't know why. Cute packaging, but it's big and bulky. For a long time, this was one of my favorite little palettes. This is a Fergie and Wet n Wild collaboration. I used to love that greeny, silvery shade down here. I love that shade. Whenever I see it, I'm very drawn to it. But yeah, a lot of these other palettes have barely been used at all. So it would be great to work on one of these, but at this point in time, none of these have been chosen to be in a project. So we will see what happens. Okay, that wraps up part 3 of my makeup inventory. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I will meet you back here for the next one soon. Hopefully tomorrow. I'll meet you back here for part 4 of my makeup inventory. Bye.